Here's Chris Scales,
Hey, Mike.
Greg Hectus,
What up, guys?
Mason Stiver,
How we doing?
and Tony Groves.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, hey. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Into the new year. iRacers Lounge continues to sponsor the OBRL Monday Night ARCA Series. And they went to the Roval, and that was a pretty fun race. Eddie Ragin' Cajun Jones beat out the other 40 drivers to capture the pole award, and he led the most laps with 28. Gail Brooks won the Hard Charger Award, gaining 26 spots on the field. The race had a great battle between professional podcaster Greg Hectus, Ed Adams, and Eddie Jones before Hectus got taken out by one of those damn turtles. Ed Adams ended up leading 17 laps and won the field strategy by over 17 seconds over second place Eddie Jones. Kevin Rupert third, Paul House fourth. Next up, Martinsville.
Also, Mike, you missed. We didn't have a show last week, but there was a one we did Charlotte the week before as well.
Right.
I don't know if you remember where you finished, Tony. Was it just you and me in that race, Tony? I got fourth in that one.
Yeah, my position doesn't matter. I don't. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, my race was a nightmare. I'm slow on road courses anyway, but was doing okay running in the back and got sideways going into turn one and just did kind of a panic reset because I was afraid that I think I was fine to just keep going, but I was afraid I was gonna get ran over, so just kind of did a panic reset and ruined my race, and then ran around my usual slow pace for a good while, and then turtled myself toward the end and survived those stupid things, forever, and then screwed up a little while after Greg did, I think, on the turtle.
Greg turtled it too.
Well, looking at the replay, I hit it with my rear passenger side tire and the motor blew. I don't know how that happened, but this is obviously a problem with that track. But
I think it's just that that car.
Yeah, I was running second place when it happened, and it just touched the right rear tire, and then I go down the straightaway, and it just blew the motor.
Yeah, and they gave us one reset too, but I accidentally wasted mine on that spin. I accidentally used up my quick repair on probably 5 seconds of damage.
You always got to uncheck that, for that reason.
And I think somebody even called it out before the race, and I still missed it.
Me?
Well, you think, I'll just uncheck it as I roll onto pit road. But like Chris, he had a panic reset, and so he didn't have time to uncheck it.
Yep.
Well, it was fun. I mean, I had a good run going myself. I had to start in the back, so I had to do a pass-through penalty from the previous week. And, boy, it was tough after that. I mean, because there's no cautions, and so you can't catch the leaders. And I was going pretty good. Some guy in front of me wrecked or was wrecking, and I went to slow down, and I lost the car and stuck it in the wall, and I had to tow. And then later I wrecked it on my own, so I was out early. Okay, let's get into stories. There's a lot going on. I got the first one. It's FOV. There's a forum post here by Ben Gillette about FOV, and I thought it was pretty interesting because, it's actually Ray Huang, and he was asking about, why does it look so weird? And so Nick Neben had a great explanation, and he showed a video, a YouTube video. It's called "Why You Are So Slow: Field of View" on YouTube, and it really gives you a visual about how this works. And here's what you need to imagine. You sit in your car, and you have cardboard, and you cover up all the windows in your car with one big piece of cardboard, okay? The front windows and the side windows. And then I want you to cut a hole the size of your center monitor in the cardboard in front of you where you sit when you're driving the car. Now I want you to drive your car while looking out that hole. And that's what you're doing. Essentially, when you're doing iRacing with one monitor, is you're doing a small 22-inch hole that you're kind of peering through and hoping you can see enough to actually drive.
One thing I see a lot of people getting wrong is their field of view.
Well, that's
they don't think
isn't that what half the people on the roads do anyways?
I run 61, as you can see in this video right
Well,
here.
they got peripheral vision.
As you can
If
see,
you imagine the
I can't
cardboard
see anything
blocking
out
out
the
the
right
right and the left
Can't see
mirror,
much out
or
the
the
left
right and
side.
left windows, and most
I'm
of
going to
the
back
front
it up
window
all the way
as
to
well.
coming into
That
iRacing
it's
and
going to be
other
hard to
people
see.
that have been in iRacing for a long time.
Yeah, it's
As you
important
can
to get
see on
that
this
FOV right.
picture, I've
Yeah, and
placed
it was a really good
sacrificed some of your
analogy, and a
visibility,
video was
and
really good
therefore their
visually
field
for
of view
me to see.
calculator
He actually draws
is
a little
very,
red
very
box
small. Move your
in
monitor
front
as
of the
close as you
driver's
possibly
face of how
can,
big that would be,
remeasure,
and you can see it's so much
calculate,
smaller than
and
what
stick with the
you could see if
calculations.
you didn't have that.
Give it some time, practice.
Right, and trying to decide if you want your arms and the steering wheel in the view is a hard thing to get used to if you usually have them in there.
Right.
And it's one of those things that you can actually get right too. So take the time to do it. I mean, you look at force feedback. I've been working on that a little bit recently, and I can go to 10 different forums and get 10 different opinions, and it can never, it's all kind of driver preference anyway, but it's hard to get a starting point. But with the field of view stuff, it's kind of just, it's math. So you got to take that, everybody, it's right there for you. iRacing gives you the tools. It's worth taking 20 minutes and getting it right, because it makes such a huge difference on the track.
Right. And so, anyway, that was a good analogy. I thought we'd bring that up. All right, Greg, what's next? Sage Karam article.
So Sage Karam had an article here talking about, well, he was at the competition participating in the Porsche Sim Racing Summit. So uh, he had multiple topics here, and I guess the biggest thing that you can take from when he's talking here is he wants to keep the sim, or his feeling when he drives the sims, real. So um, you know, some of the guys, I guess, were watching him through the whole thing and were the whole event, and they were finding that he likes a heavy steering wheel and heavy pedals, just like, I guess, because he drives in real life, so I'm guessing he you know has a better feel of what an actual car is going to feel like. And some of the people in that event were turning down the force feedback, and we had a discussion on it at the Old Bastard Racing League about this the other day too, about sometimes if you turn it down, you lose the realism, but you might go faster. But he says he was getting worn out by the time the whole weekend was done. Um, so one of his quotes in
User
here,
in your channel is recording.
a lot of guys crack down the force feedback on their brake pedal, and then their travel small. I try to make it as realistic as possible because that's why I have the sim. So he's just talking in there like he wants, it to keep as realistic as he possibly can.
Yeah, he's used to training in the IndyCar, and he wants the same feel as that, and so he runs some serious force feedback, obviously. It's a really good article. I mean, it's a long read article. It's at open-wheels.com. And if you like a long read, it's very good. It's about sim racing and racing in general. He talks about racing with Max Verstappen and how it was to kind of meet him on the sim and that kind of thing too. It's very interesting. Okay, next one. Dallara car grip levels, Tony.
Yeah, this post come up on the forums. Am I even on the first page? I am. So Henry Bennett posted up. I guess it was a continuation from a discussion in another thread, but basically saying like the Dallara, the IR18 it's too much grip since the latest release. They says the default weather, 78 degrees, has the same grip level that they used to have when it was when the temperature was in the 60s. Um, doesn't sound too happy about it. They were kind of hoping maybe the fix would be with the new tire model, and staff member Eric Hudek did come up to say that there's no time frame on the new tire model, but they're going to see if they can tweak some things to fix that. Now, I'm pretty sure I've heard this same thing in some of the other cars. Am I correct on that?
Well, I think so. I mean, you got to remember they changed the tire they cut the by 50% the effect that temperature has on the tire, right?
Well, yeah, okay, then that would make that makes perfect sense then. Why? So it's a lot grippier.
But I think what these guys are saying, well, the IndyCar specifically, it's it's not realistic anymore because of that, and so they're wanting it fixed basically. And yeah, he said no time frame on the new tire model. So he did say something to the effect of we could just take some time out of the car. What did he? Where did I see that?
It's
Well, yeah, it's in the same message there. It should be simple enough to pull out some lap time with the current tires.
it's
Right. So try to make it realistic.
it's unfortunate how they've written this one now that there is no time frame. The tire model thing just keeps coming up and then being put back on the back burner with, you know, time frames again. And it's at least this is what they should have been saying for the last year instead of all those other promises.
Hashtag soon. All right. Mason, a lesson on painting.
Yeah, so Michael Henke posted up a discussion about 24 versus 32-bit TGA files. His question was basically, when saving a TGA, should I choose 24 or 32-bit? And the answer to that was the main paint that you're saving is the 24-bit file. The decal layer is the 32-bit. So with TGAs, each channel is 8-bit. So you have 8-bit for red, green, blue in 24-bit with TGA, and with 32-bit you gain another 8-bit. So the 32 seems to be the way to go.
Okay, you kind of went over my head with all that. I'm not much of a painter. Do you guys know what he's talking about?
Sounds like you just need to make sure you use the decal layer for decals and the main layer for the main skin, and that's the more important part to save it as the 32.
Yeah, I got Photoshop, or I did on my old computer, and you can get GIMP or Photoshop for free. If you can go get it from Adobe.com Photoshop for free if you get the original version. You can actually download it at no cost. But anyway, yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't really paint. I've tried a little bit, but it's really hard. So anyway, hopefully those are some nuggets for you about how that works. All right, let's see. What's next here? I lost my spot.
Oh,
Should
it's,
sim
uh,
racing be
yeah,
taken
should sim
seriously?
racing be
Scales.
taken seriously?
Yep. And it's an article from Tim Southers on motorsports.com who went to the sim racing summit held by Porsche, and as he was coming back, he was kind of wanting to see all the money and the things that Porsche had thrown at that and how awesome that event was. He was kind of wondering if sim racing, it was their time, if it was time for sim racing to finally hit it big. And the article is kind of a recap of sim racing history, all the way from the Grand Prix Legends to NASCAR 2003, Gran Turismo, iRacing, R Factor. The article is slightly R Factor biased, but makes great points. As technology has advanced, sim racing is becoming a legitimate esport. Most, if not all, auto manufacturers are major racing are looking to get involved.
Wow.
You guys think it's complementing current motorsports or hurting current motorsports, the e-racing stuff? And if you were a kid, where would you spend your money? Would you? I mean, are you going to try that? That's one thing. You have a 13-year-old trying to get into racing. We all know iRacing is the way to go, but if you can pick up a cheaper a game with your console for $60.
Well, if you look
Right.
at, I'm going to use F1 as an example. They've spent a lot of money with their studio and everything to present the whole product, and you know, there's more people that are going to go out there and purchase, a a $60 game off the shelf that's, you can pop in a console and it works. Or the problem with sim racing and these esports is the accessibility is the problem, right? So if it's easier for, a PlayStation or Xbox or any of those systems are always the same. There's, you pop the disc in or the CD in and you can go. So that's what's making it a little bit easier. Whereas, look at all of, we all have different computers and we all run different peripherals and things like that. So these series, if they promote them through the easier spots, that's where it's going to be hurting the Sim series part of it. But I'm looking through some of these videos and stuff, seeing it like I've never seen the Le Mans Esports series logo before. That's the first time I've seen that. But the one that it'll become more, um, I would see it would be more of a threat to sim racing if someone from an esports series got hired on to race like in a NASCAR or something. We're lucky enough to have someone from the sim community actually go into from iRacing to go up into NASCAR. But if something happened where off a heat they got a job or something like that with doing it, that's where it probably could hurt the Sims part of it.
Yeah, I think it helps current motorsports. Why? Because motorsports is on a decline, and they're latching onto anything they can, and this is an obvious solution to get some eyeballs back on the sport. I just listened to a podcast by Mark Martin with Jeff Burton as the guest, and they were talking about if they were a young man and they had the opportunities that a young man has today to on how to consume racing or consume stuff with the different things like iRacing. Maybe you don't watch the race because you're actually racing. You're in the sim race, and I really latched onto that because that's kind of like me. I don't watch as much NASCAR as I used to because I'm doing sim racing, and but he talked about that a little bit, and it was very interesting. And I think this article is all about sim racing taking off as an e-sport, and I think it certainly is. We're seeing the beginning of it.
Well,
I think.
oh, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I think so too, and I think if we keep getting some people putting money behind it, like Porsche, it's going to keep getting bigger. I think you see a lot of things coming away from that event they put in that sim racing summit, and it's just going to take more things like that, and in things like iRacing putting $100,000 up for grabs. I mean, you might not, Dad might not spend more than $60 on his kid's hobby if that's what he thinks it is, but I was actually trying to get one of my buddies who does have a little, extra money, talked into getting, a rig and iRacing and everything for his kid because he's 14, he could make he could make a future out of it if he has the talent. Why not give him a shot?
Well, that's it right there. That's where it's going to complement current motorsports. I mean, we are seeing it to a small extent right now, but the next couple of years, if things keep going, it's going to get bigger and bigger because it's opening windows for people that couldn't normally, get into actual racing just because of the sheer cost, right? A lot of the times too, you're not going to get a ride unless you have money. But if you got talent that and you can showcase that talent um, without that huge cost up front, that could potentially open up doors for you as well. So I don't. I can only see how this uh, would continue complementing current motorsports and help the current product we have now grow to get a bigger fan base.
Right,
Yep.
and we got William Byron, Ty Majeski, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, all on iRacing. They're NASCAR drivers, along with we talked about Sage before. So all these real drivers hopping on is making, I think, sim racing more serious.
Well,
Right, but if you
go
sorry,
ahead,
Greg,
Don.
but if you think about it, William Byron, I don't know anything about his background. I know that he came, he started out on iRacing, but would William Byron get the same chances that he's gotten today, say 10, 15 years ago?
Right.
Well, he got
Probably
it.
not.
He got it in the first stages of iRacing. When Dale Earnhardt Jr. was around and the Peak Series was being built, that's when he got the lucky shot at it, right? Like that's when Gregor Hutu got the chance to go race the Skip Barber car, or was it the Mazda? I can't remember. Anyways, but you know, seeing these events though, like even Mike, I know when you on the messenger sometimes when we've watched some of the races this year, you're fired up after the race is done and you want to come to the sim and start racing, right? Like
Yeah.
it gets you fired up. Now, like they need to try and figure out how to use it the other way. Whereas, come on the sim and, you can hang out or race with these race car drivers and then go watch them on, in their race type thing. Like that's where they need to use it to help, right? Like you can race against your favorite esports driver or your favorite sim racer. That's where they need to help, market it better that way.
Let's have Wednesday nights. We have 20 real NASCAR Cup drivers join 20 different splits of NIS. They put one in each split, and we get to race with them. That'd be cool.
That would drive, that's one way to drive stuff too, right? Like that
Right.
would drive participation.
Pretty cool idea. All right, let's keep moving. Greg, secrets of iRacing.
Now I was looking through that. This is trying to bring it up here, but so it looks like Secrets of iRacing is I want to call it like a tutorial of iRacing in general, and it looks like they do a whole bunch of blogs and stuff like that um, on whatever they're covering. But this one that they have done is for iRacing, and it gives you like basically a step-by-step thing of iRacing in general and what to do. What is iRacing? Sales and deals, and they got all the stuff, tips and tricks that you would need for anybody that hops on now on the evolution of how big iRacing is. Whereas when it first started, it was this stuff wasn't all needed. It was pretty easy to go through, but now anybody can find any information they want from this. What would you call it? Is it a blog?
Yeah, it's a blog. It's a
So,
website.
but anyways, it's really in depth. They got bullet points here that you can click on and just read whatever you're looking for. You can look it up, and they got a full. It's actually like the user's manual for iRacing, I guess. If
Yeah.
if it was um, if it was an actual game and it needed a book for it, it would be the user manual. So it's well done.
When I started, I would love to have had this when I first started iRacing, because when you first start, you really don't have a clue because you haven't read anything. You're like, okay, what race can I get in? And you have to figure out what cars and tracks you have. It's mostly about what you don't have is what you see. But then you eventually figure it out and you just kind of waddle your way through it. If you had a website like this, if you're new, I can't imagine. I would sit and read the whole thing all at once, probably.
Well, I remember
Yeah.
when I first started, the only thing that we get iRacing out, we can look at videos and stuff now. When I first started, the only way I ever heard about iRacing is, I got it from my dad's PC Gamer or that once a month subscription. It was quick advertising in it, and I thought, well, I love racing games. Let's try it out because it said, 1 month free or whatever the promotion was at the time. Tried it, and I was hooked. But that then it was a lot smaller, so it was easy. But this right here would, because it can be overwhelming when you first come in.
Now, the website is salah.ca. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's SELAH.ca. Salah.ca. So, good job to Matthew Gallant, who's the author of that. I found this and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool for new people. So be aware of that, guys. If you're new, definitely recommended reading. All right, Chris. Kevin Swindle shares Chili Bowl setup.
Yep. Yeah, and that's about all there is to this one. Kevin Swindell tweeted out his Chili Bowl setup, and if you don't know the guy, I think he's won the Chili Bowl, I believe, 4 times.
Yeah,
So
he's the man.
he knows his stuff.
Wow, how much better does it get than that? You get the best setup from the best driver, the real world driver at that track. If you want to run it, the STO file's right there on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
Running,
not it.
He's running a 9.9 second lap.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's I still haven't ran. I own both of these and I haven't ran them yet, so I definitely have to grab his setup before I go out. But iRacing isn't they're not doing anything special this year for the Chili Bowl, are they? I couldn't. Speaking of stuff, hard to find things in iRacing. I figured they would be doing something. Seeing
It's a
we still have
special
a few
event, yeah.
weeks. Is
It
it?
just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I saw it in the special event schedule, but it was way at the bottom, so I wasn't sure if it was like we'll look into it for next year if we were getting anything this year or not.
Yeah, but it'll happen. Yeah, I haven't bought it myself. That I almost did. All right, Mason. iRacing gets a black flag from YouTube copyright.
Yeah, iRacing is too real, I guess. There was a forum post by Brenton Parker who said he did a broadcast race 2 weeks ago. This was early December in the Pro Mazda. RaceBot did the coverage, and the video has been taken down due to a copyright complaint from Formula One management. Not sure if it's actually from Formula One management or if YouTube is just like their filter is just flagging it. But it seemed the race was at Spa, and it was a 12-second segment with two Pro Mazdas going through Lecombs. So neither of which had a scheme that had anything to do with F1. So we're not sure if the video is back up yet or not. But yeah, it seems it was so realistic because of the camera angles, which are literally labeled F1. So it could be that is why the view of the track triggered it. So that's pretty cool to know that iRacing is that real looking.
So you're saying YouTube's computer looks at it, it compares it to real Formula One footage, and thinks it's the same thing, so it flags it as you don't own that material.
Yeah, it seems they had it earlier this year too in a Suzuka race with the GT cars.
The F1, everything is copyrighted pretty hard on F1. It's really hard. So I'm guessing there's probably a lot of filters that catch stuff.
Well, you can't talk to a real person at YouTube, so how do you fix this,
There's an appeals process, it seems, because they got one reversed earlier in the year. So I think they're trying on this one.
I have to watermark it or something weird. I don't know. Yeah, YouTube needs to be better with their filtering, is what I would say. All right, I got the next one. Here, rookie. Steve Myers tweeted out after Christmas or on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas, tons of new members the last few days. So all you long timers, please help them out. And so just a reminder that, over the holidays, there are a lot of people that join iRacing. It's one of the biggest joins of the year or times of the year to join. So don't forget that when you're in an event, you might be with somebody who's on their day one or day two or day three, and be kind. It's always nice to have a helpful hand. And you got to remember, we're all the veterans now, right?
Yeah, and these guys are coming from gaming online, with other sims and games where the community is kind of a bunch of jerks. So don't be those people. It's a really, really insanely awesome community with iRacing, and so just to show them that.
All right, Greg, Netherlands server issues.
So just looking up the name for the guy that posted, Fraser Williamson. He posted at 15:07. Everyone received a red Q bar and dropped out of the session. And it looks like a bunch of guys in here corroborate with it. So the whole server went down. So he just posted about it, and it looks like the issue has to be with the. Yeah, it's with the data center. We lease these servers from distributor and distribute the networks when they add a new server to our infrastructure. That should not have occurred, as we have had them add and remove a server in the past with no distribution. Disruption, sorry. Fixed within an hour of the first post. Hosted sessions can be refunded by contacting support. So I guess I was a hosted session, so that was...
Well, it wasn't just hosted. It was any session that was on that set of servers, which is, they have certain ones in the Netherlands for Europe.
Okay, so that was Nicholas Bailey that posted that about the apology for it, and giving the information about it.
And of course, IR and SR, yeah, you lose it. Nothing gets put back. So,
It's one race. It can't be too bad.
all right, let's keep moving. Mason, you don't need a handbrake.
Yeah, they have a forum post up here from Matt Everhart, giving some advice to rookies who are jumping in the iRacing Rallycross series, specifically the rookie one. So he has a whole list of 8 things up here, talking about how they now have baseline setups from Kevin Carlisle. And the last thing on here is specifically you don't need a handbrake. They say there's only 2 instances to use it, and it's correcting the car is the more important one, and to getting the right angle going into the corner. And it's never a full pull on the handbrake, just a little tap.
Yep. And if you look through this post, it's a who's who of dirt road, as you would call it today. Now, dirt road, what is that? That means rallycross. But look at these iRatings on the signatures of these guys. We're talking about the top level of rallycross. All these guys are commenting about it, and they all are agreeing with a lot that's been said here. But the handbrake is kind of a surprise to me. I always assumed that you needed it, really. I have a button mapped for it. I use it occasionally. But after reading all this stuff, I need to learn how not to use it because it just slows you down.
Well, maybe that's something they're gonna have to fix though, because if you watch, real rallycross in real life, they're on that all the time. So maybe that's something that someday down the road it might change though, right?
I don't know. Don't know. I mean, it's handy to get the car to turn when you can't get it to turn. You just tap that button and it turns.
Yeah, well, in real life, they're not using a button. They're using a lever that they can control how much pressure they're putting on it.
Right, and maybe that's the trick to it. But even then, I mean, they're basically saying don't do it. So, and I have ghosted with Mitchell DeJong, one of the fast guys in these cars, and been in his cockpit, and he doesn't use it. And I've gone around and watched his inputs on the brake and throttle, and yeah, he never touched it. All right, let's keep moving. Tony, coolest names in iRacing.
Yeah, that's right. This is a pretty fun little topic. It just went haywire. I mean, the thread itself is it's got some. I think we're up to 17 pages on this, and I mean, we've all been in a race, and you look through and see if there's anybody you know, and then you always come across some names that kind of rather stand out. They're just a cool name or kind of funny to say. I know personally one that I see racing with in my splits all the time goes by the name of Dude Conrad, and I just think that is so freaking cool. What an awesome name. But I was scrolling through, having some fun, and I picked out a few that kind of really stood out to me. One is the Edgar Outlaw. That's a pretty badass name. Bass Slob, gotta love it. Hugh Janice. Figure you guys can
Huge.
play.
Someone's been watching
Play
The
around
Simpsons
that
too much.
Yeah, but there's a couple here. I don't know how I don't know however you fit that onto a credit card, but one's just 30. That's it, 30. Texas Nation, and last but certainly not least, and probably one of my top favorite ones, is Penetration Testing. That is an actual iRacing name. You can look it up.
Whoa. I like Kermit the Frog.
Is that like lick it and send it then? Penetration? Never mind.
Now, wait a minute. What about the rule about you got to sign up and use a real name and part of the sporting code and you got to use the name on the credit card? And
Well, something's funny kind of going on with those ones there, like 30, the Texas Nation and the Penetration one. they either like one race or no races at all. If you go look at their history and stuff.
Right. Well, I would say to iRacing, look, the penetration guy, I mean, do we really need that?
Yeah, for podcast segments such as this, we certainly do.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to race with that guy, though, especially when he's behind you.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, let's keep moving.
well played, Mike.
Yeah, I got the next one. Schedule tweaks. Road to Pro Oval. There's a little tweak to the schedule. Isn't much change, except a few weeks were taken out at the beginning of the season due to it not lining up well with Week 13 and other series. Aside from that, it's virtually the same format with a few less races. And so that's what's going on for the Road to Pro Oval. What else? Then there was a announcement about the 2019 Dirt World Championship Series. And the thing to learn about this is they staggered them, the schedules. And so what did they stagger? The sprint car, the late model, and the rallycross. So those 3 championship series, the first one, the sprint car, will be during season 2. The qualifying will be season 1. And so when they go to the late model, that's season 3, and the qualifying season 2. And then rallycross finally will be in season 4 with the qualifying in season 3. And so as you can see, they're kind of staggered now where they're not running them all at the same time. Good idea. And I think it allows people to do cross-discipline, If one guy wants to run more than one championship series, this pretty much allows it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, if they're going to do any kind of promotion for those as well, it's going to make it a lot easier to promote an individual series at a time rather than having them all at the same time.
Right. I mean, here on the podcast, we couldn't even cover all of them because there's just so many. There's too much going on at once, so you don't cover them at all. And so if there's just one going on at a time, we'll probably talk about it,
Yeah, certainly a good change for sure.
All right, good. Mason, tutorial on ride height.
Yeah, so I'm geeking out reading about this one. There is a forum that is a forum post for peak setup guys. They're kind of answering some questions here, and the main post that interests me is Kristen Challoner, the peak driver. He threw up not videos, pictures of his Motec spreadsheet from a fixed set for Richmond, and it shows the ride heights. And he goes through and takes out the front and looks at those specifically, takes out the rear, looks at those, and he kind of diagnoses why the car is having issues. And talks about how he would go through and fix it and look at the whole picture before just immediately making a change and seeing if it works, because you might create more problems. So and they seem very open to answering questions that we might have. If you want to post your questions on up there.
Holy cow. This thread, if you're a crew chief, you need to be on this thread, okay? It's called Peak Setup Guys. And if you'd want to do setups at all, you need to read everything on every page. Hammer is all over this. Hammer's been in here as well. I've read a lot of his stuff, and he has participated and given a lot of information as well. But a lot of, like you said, other peak drivers are participating, including Brandon Hastings, who's a Penske, real life Penske crew chief, not a crew chief, but a crew member, I think, on the 12 car. He's in there talking about stuff as well. But yeah, Christian Challoner, the write-up that he did, like you said, Mason, it's really amazing the way he kind of describes the process and how he says it in words exactly what to do in this step, from this step to this step to this step, and makes it look like it's something that you might be able to figure out if you tried.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, very cool. Greg, Daytona 24-hour incident limit has been announced.
which is actually really interesting to read here. But so Drew Adamson has announced. I guess it's been debated, and I know 24 hours of Le Mans was 100. So it looks like the limit here for the 24 hours of Daytona is going to be 200 per team. So I think they're doing this because of the participation and stuff they had last year, or last year and stuff like that. So 200, there shouldn't be a lot of disqualifications with 200 incident limit. That's a lot.
What if you get one a lap? How many laps are there?
Oh, it'll probably be. I'm trying to remember it's probably going to be close to 1,000+ laps, isn't it?
Right. So you got to have a lot of laps with no incidents.
I think we need to bump this up to about 200 per person.
Well, there's a lot of discussion in this thread about that. Is that the right amount?
I think 200's enough. Like, that's a lot of incidents to count. I mean, yeah,
Challenge accepted.
You can definitely lose if one of the guys gets all those. Is definitely going to lose his road license.
Well, what I don't like about it is I'm not the best driver on my team, and I get more incidents, and I somehow DQ us out. That screws the race for everybody else, even though it wasn't their fault. I guess it's no different in wrecking, but
just don't wreck it. Keep it on the black stuff. We're good.
Oh, 200. Okay.
And looks like we're going to be we're still debating on having a third car or not, but it looks like we're going to be doing at least 2 cars and one in each class, or one of the.
Yeah, 2 cars.
There's 3 classes, so 2 of the 3 classes.
I don't see how you're going to do 3 unless you got 3 people that want to run, 8 hours each. But then you're asking the other 3 people, to do 8 hours each as well. So, and if one person doesn't show up, then you're screwed. So I don't know about 3 cars. I think 2 is the right spot. If we had about 2 more people, maybe 3.
We did it last year with 3, correct?
Well, we did Le Mans with 3.
We had more people though. So anyway, yeah, we got the schedule built. So I think we're on the right track. It is a little bit like herding cats, but we got everybody to actually put a schedule together. So I'm very pleased that the schedule's done at this point. All right, let's keep moving. Chris, why do people get second accounts?
Well, it comes from a forum post, and there are a lot of opinions on why people get second accounts, including some from Tyler Hudson. But the one that I think we're concerned with here is a post from Jonathan Battelle. He said, in his opinion, the second account is the solution taken by many to make up for the lack of iRating per car. They want to maintain their iRating artificially high in the car where they excel, no more than 4 times a week if they play the championship. And yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, and I wonder, we've talked about this before, I think pretty much everybody in the sim universally would like to see them have iRating per car. So you can have, without having a second account, you can have, let's say, the A car that you take seriously, you run NIS, and you want to run truck races on the weekend for fun. You don't have to worry about your, losing that top split NIS spot because you want to have some fun in the trucks.
I think there's a negative side effect to this. A lot of people forget, though. If they do have iRating per car, and my main car is the A car, what's stopping me from going to the B car and just being all crazy and just, wrecking, being nuts and whatever? I don't care, because I don't care about my iRating. And so does that make the racing overall worse because the people like that or only care about a particular car? I think that's kind of a downside, but
I don't think so. Yeah, I think because you're still going to have, you still have the protest system and the sporting code, and most of those official races can be pretty rough to begin with. But I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a discussion to have. But yeah, I don't know.
If I got a second account, this is exactly the reason. Would be I don't want to mess up my iRating for NIS, and I want to run other oval stuff. And basically, that's why I don't run much official oval, because I don't want to mess up that iRating. So I don't know. It's expensive to have a second account. So
Yeah, I'm sure
not gonna do
iRacing
it.
loves it. Have 3.
All right, let's keep moving. I got the next one. I got to say, guys, in my 5 years of doing this show, I don't think I've ever laughed out loud when I read a forum post like I did this one. Okay, so hold your breath. I got arrested during the 24 hours of Le Mans by Ben Gilliatt from UK. Anyway, they're doing a 24-hour race hosted with his team, and he was 2 laps into his stint when my teammate said that somebody's trying to get into my van. I couldn't hear anything and chose to ignore them, carried on driving. 12 minutes later, the power went off, so I removed my Oculus, jumped out of the rig raging, opened the van door, and was met by 12 police officers. They literally dragged me out of the van, pinned me against the van, and handcuffed me. I was there for 20 minutes while they searched the van, and they found nothing, and they released me. Basically, they thought the van was a mobile drug factory. They said they could smell weed and could see a bright light inside the van. The van was moving about a bit as well from the motion rig, and when they were knocking on the van, I wasn't responding. They thought I was ignoring them and destroying evidence. Sadly for them, they didn't stumble upon a Walter White and Jesse Pinkman style weed lab, only a guy in a van racing online in VR. And unbelievable.
Junior, he's still learning.
And there's pictures of the sim racing van on this thread as well. What do you guys think about this? Have you ever thought about racing in a van?
Like, yeah, take it to work, and then you can race on your lunch breaks. Just don't race in an all black van without proper windows, because the cops are going to think something shady's going on in there.
It's like a big cargo van, all blacked out, black, and it's got blacked out windows and everything.
He never did explain what the weed smell was from, though.
And so basically, he said, I can't find it at the moment, but somewhere in this thread he says, well, I race in the van because I don't want to disrupt, the wife and the kids, and I need some, my space, and so I just, park a van out front of the house and just run an extension cord out and do my racing out there.
Okay, so now I'm really surprised. He said he has a wife, too. This is...
And 3 kids.
Oh, man. That is... I would never have thought about putting it in a van, but, kudos to him for, doing it. I guess if you got the van doesn't even have to be an operating van, I guess. It's basically just like his own room that's not attached to the house.
Yeah, next time it'll have to be a shed, so the cops don't... Well, they'd probably still bust into that, too, I guess.
He's going to Home Depot to buy one of those external sheds.
That has to get cold.
Yeah, and then he went on to say, the night before was a Christmas party night, and one of the drivers went a bit mad on the juice. After recovering the whole day, he came on at 11 p.m. to do his stint. He managed to complete his stint, and then he disappeared. He passed out, smashed his head on his rig, and opened up a nice gash. He was found by the missus in a pool of blood, completely knocked out cold. So he ended up in the hospital. We found out at 10 a.m. the next morning, and that was another guy in his team for that race.
This is a hardcore team. How do we get them on our podcast? It would be interesting to talk to them.
I just can't believe the sim racing van.
I have so many questions about the van.
It kind of looks like a SWAT van,
I think we need to get in contact with this guy.
He's even got pictures of the cops standing outside with their little ticket books and whatnot. It's pretty funny.
That one cop looks way too happy for coming to a drug bust.
All right, let's keep moving. Brent, Porsche Pro qualifying series.
RaceBot TV went and released a ad for their YouTube, or made a link to YouTube for the iRacing Esports Network and the Porsche Pro qualifying series that's going to happen on Saturdays. They went and put up on YouTube all of their scheduled streams. You guys will be able to catch every single one of those that are up there if you're into that.
Yeah, cool that they're having it broadcast. I think that's pretty cool. Better than they're doing with the Peak Road to Pro stuff. they don't, no broadcast of that.
Yeah, I will say kudos to Porsche, man. They seem to really be on the ball with
Yeah,
this
for sure.
stuff.
Yeah, RaceSpot doesn't do this stuff for free. So either iRacing had to pony up something or Porsche did, but somebody did, and that's what counts, right? All right, Chris Gale, autumn split night in America. We got an announcement.
Yes, so this is pretty exciting. So I think during the podcast we talked a lot about the bottom split night in America. They broadcasted the bottom split NIS races on the Wednesday Night Open, and they have actually started their own league, and they're gonna start doing their own special events. We're calling it Preseason Thunder. I say we're so damn excited for the upcoming NIS bottom split season. We're hosting our own shindig. It's going to be next Wednesday, January the 9th. Server goes up at 8:30 Eastern Time. Race set sail at 9:05. 40-something slots available. First come, first serve. It's going to be the Cup cars. 69 laps, of course. If you're a 1999 I rating or lower, you're eligible to apply. Yep, you just need to apply to their league. And they are going to have prizes, 30 credits to the winner, 15 for second, 5 for third. Additional prizes may be distributed. I love that, it may be. But yeah, I think I'm going to try to run this. These guys, I usually run with the OBRL on Wednesday. It sucks that I'll be missing that, but these guys did an incredible job. Jordan Worth and the bottom split guys, I mean, they were a lot of fun to watch through the season last year, and definitely would like to participate in whatever the heck this thing is.
Yeah.
Tony, you haven't signed
it's
up?
fun. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I see we got Bobby's in it too, huh? Bobby Jonas. He's doing it also.
He's definitely in the league. I haven't talked to him yet to find out if he's going to be able to run next Wednesday or not. But yeah, I like how everything's kind of free form. So we'll see what they do when they get their own platform and it's not an NIS race. They do say they'll throw a competition caution at some point. That's just the way
I could just see
things.
them screwing around.
Yeah, unlimited resets. So it should be interesting.
They'll have one of those races where they go backwards on the track.
Who knows?
All right, got the next one. Drew Addison from iRacing actually opened up a Discord for an audio chat the other day to talk about the incident limit for the 24 hours race. And so he did post up. People were able to join the Discord and talk to Drew about what they thought about the incident limit. Now, a few people joined him from what I can see on the forums, but I thought it was pretty cool that, not only are the staff members participating in the forums, in writing, but now, you can talk to them. And so he said, one time only for now. Maybe he'll do it in the future, but it's kind of neat to see that they, just open up a discussion for people,
They should do this kind of for certain things. Like this would be a good way to get feedback. Have like a community hall, like a town
Roundtable,
hall,
yeah.
right? Like, and just just talk. Like, what's going good, what's going bad. Like, it's one thing to write stuff down, but it's really hard to convey stuff in a text or in text. So maybe it might be, you can talk to them with your legitimate concerns or whatever, and they might hear it better by, speaking to them over that Discord, because Discord's easy to deal with, right?
Yeah, and it's a good idea. I agree. They need to schedule it out. He did it with very little notice, and so not a lot of people, knew about it.
So this brings up another point, kind of similar to what NASCAR does, as far as like a driver's console or whatever they call them. Does iRacing doesn't have anything like that, correct? For members from all different.
They have the once a year survey. They do.
Yeah, but that's not really getting. You're getting focused feedback from that. You're not getting what
Right.
people from the lower splits think versus people from the upper splits. And I'm just thinking, like, if they could, maybe once every 2 or 3 months, get certain people, just pick them out and say, look, will you be able to talk about this? What are your concerns? going to those people. I think that might go a long way.
Yeah, pluck some names out of the forums of people that have given good ideas. I think they're doing that to a degree, Brent, in writing as far as the forums, because you see a lot of staff members in the forums participating now, getting involved in these threads, giving feedback. And so I think they really do have a good pulse about what the community wants because they're participating like we are. Okay, let's keep moving. Scales, you got the next one. Wow, this was interesting. Y2K?
Yeah, Monday night I went on to race the old bastards race and found out that I couldn't. The race wasn't up in leagues, and I went to official, and there was nothing in official either. The old bastards and Tifosi, we kind of thought it was a Y2K bug. I've heard that it happens every year, and so I think we end up. I switched my time to Chinese and was able to get into a practice, but it looks like that it might not have been Y2K, time related at all. If you believe Tyler Hudson's post, he said it was the Porsche Cup schedule was reduced from 12 weeks to 3, and so when the schedule swapped to week 4, it caused the entire scheduler to crash. Long story short, the series was turned off and the scheduler rebooted, and now everything is coming back up. So, what do you guys think? Was it that, or was this some kind of weird Y2K bug? It seems like a weird night for it to happen.
I think the China time zone thing was real because it set your clock back to the previous year where it wasn't a problem, right?
Well, I changed the time, and then I tried to get into a practice using the sessions tab up at the top instead of clicking on the left side of the scheduler.
Right.
And so somebody has said that actually just clicking on sessions, they were able to get in without having to change the time. But yeah, there was nothing scheduled that night. I think it was about 6 or so Eastern when I got on, and everybody was just kind of out of luck.
Well, what day was that the laps turned was negative?
It was showing for a couple days. It was showing for over 24 hours that way.
That's some kind of computer integer problem, though.
Ferris Bueller bug.
The numbers are so big that regular computing can't handle it, so they had to kind of work around to fix it. Nick Deben also posted up. This is the 3rd year in a row something like this has happened on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, he was documenting how each forms page was up there with the problems of each year. So maybe it's a mixture of both. Did the Porsche thing cause it, and then is it something that they can't get their code around to work as soon as it switches over the date?
You think it'd be simple, but all right, let's keep moving. Tony, Beta UI. Can't hear you. Yeah, we lost your mic. I'll take it up then. Beta UI discussion. Well, the thread continues, about why do we need a beta UI and all this. Well, one guy posted up a link that he's found. I'm going to read the website. It's members-ng.iracing.com. members-ng.iracing.com. And if you go to that website, guess what you see? You see the beta UI in Google Chrome. What? Okay, this is great. If they want to do beta UI, bring it to me, but give it to me in my Google Chrome. I don't want this clunky crap that they put it in that runs my graphics card and makes it hot. Or my buddies who have VR having to put on their headset just to look for races. It's ridiculous. And this website here proves that it works in a regular browser. Now, if you go to that website, you'll see the beta UI, but then it says something like not allowed.
Have you tried it this way at all, Mike?
Well, I've clicked it, but you can't really get in. And I did sign in, but then it says you're not allowed.
Okay. Well, I'd be interested. Yeah, I did click on it, but I didn't bother going through all the sign up stuff. I was just wondering, I'm sure they'll still have all the same graphics, and if it's going to be, still pulling from your graphics card, like the actual beta UI does.
It's in a Google Chrome browser, though. It's not, my graphics card's not running, and I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the beta UI within a browser. And I hit sign in, and then it says not allowed. But you can tell by the design of it, it's basically the beta UI code that you can put in a browser by going to that particular website. So, man, that's what I say to iRacing is, everyone hates this other thing. Remember, we did a poll with a lot of people who voted. That was like, I think it was 78% last time I looked, did not like it. Why don't you just compromise and put it within the browser, and then we have the best of both worlds?
And then they wouldn't have to, they could just keep working on the beta UI and get rid of the other stuff.
Right. I mean, why do people have to put on their VR glasses to go looking for the next race? That's ridiculous. All right. Anyway, I was kind of surprised to see that there is a web version of the beta UI that's out there, but it's blocked. All right, Mason, you got the next one. We got some info on the 24-hour race.
Yeah, so our 24 Hours of Daytona
It's 200.
is happening on January 18th to 20th. There's a time slot Saturday, 1 o'clock GMT, which is Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, or on Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. You need at least a D 4.0 road license, and it's the sim date. The time of day setting is going to be January 19, 2019 at 2 p.m. That's when the race is going to start time-wise. You got 30-minute warm-up, 8-minute 2-lap qualifying, and then our 24-hour race with dynamic weather. We're splitting by iRating, and it does say instant luminous TBA on here, but like we talked about, it sounds like it's going to be about 200. Field size is going to be 50, and our cars are the Corvette Daytona prototype, the Ferrari GTE, Ford GT 2017, Porsche 911 RSR, Audi R8, and the Mercedes GT3.
Okay, so the big change is 50 on the field size. That's gone down. It used to be 63, I think. And qualifying is attached.
The other thing that's weird on here, why would they not start it at the same time of day that the actual race is starting? Well, I guess because they're two different start times, I guess, yeah. But
They have
so
the
2
sim
p.m.
start time is different than the race start time.
I guess it's different wherever everybody's starting.
Right. So in the sim, it's at the same time as the real race, so the sun will go up and down at the right times. Okay. But we're going to still start the race when we normally start these things.
So
If that makes sense.
we're doing slot 2, time slot 2.
That's right, yeah. And, qualifying attached, that means one person, the guy who's starting the race, is going to do the qualifying, and he gets one shot at it, 2 laps.
Yep, good luck. So
Have
also,
fun, David. Or Gregory. Have fun.
So also, Drew Adamson, iRacing staff member, is looking at putting up a classic Daytona 24 Hours on January 16th. That's a Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. He put up a poll asking if people would run it, and about 77% of people, that's 34 people, would say yes. They want to utilize the Riley DP and Porsche Cup cars. So if you're interested, check out that forum. It's called Classic Daytona 24.
But it's only a 2-hour race.
Well, it used to be
sorry.
It was used to be 2.4. Is what they used to do, right?
Well, they still are doing that. This is something different they're doing.
No, but when they first did the first ever 24 hours, they called the roar between the roar between before the 24 or 2.4 is what this is, used to what he's doing right here is it used to be the Riley DP and whatever other cars. I think they use a Corvette, back in the day, and that was the 24 hours because I couldn't go longer than so long in the server, so that was 2.4 hours.
I see. All right, let's keep moving. Chris Scales, hardware, software. What's first? The Pimax.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. So this is a new VR headset, and I actually just switched to VR. Got a Rift yesterday, and it's absolutely incredible. But my one complaint would be the resolution. It's much worse than what you'd see on a decent monitor. And Brian Nutmaker made a forum post that he has tested out the new Primax 5K, and this headset is made by a Chinese company who started a Kickstarter, and his impressions so far have been really good. He said it's hard to describe first impressions.
Beyond wow.
Yeah, full field of view, much clearer picture than the Odyssey Plus. All of the text is clear and readable. I know this sounds silly, but it was basically the same feeling of joy I had running iRacing VR for the first time. It basically feels like I get the resolution of triples in VR.
Wow.
He just say everything's not perfect. He said, with that said, not everything is perfect in the land of Oz. There is some distortion of the image at the extremes of the field of view, left and right. I don't notice while driving, but it is much more noticeable while in the moving camera mode from the main menu. While driving, it isn't distracting, and I think I would keep it because it helps when everyone passes me. But yeah, this is I looked it up and it looks like this thing's about $1,000, and a Kickstarter. So maybe not for everybody right now, but it's pretty exciting to see that there is an option out there for VR, and to have that high resolution. It's pretty incredible. I know, Mason, you said that I didn't see anything about having issues with the video card. Did you say that maybe the high powered video cards may not be able to run this thing quite as well as some of the others?
Yeah, I did some research on it just because I didn't know what this thing was, and there were a couple game tests that had them testing the 2080 video card with it, and it was saying it was really pulling down on that without much performance because of the resolution of the VR headset. So you're gonna need something pretty hefty.
Decent.
Yeah, Brian, I think Brian who tested this in iRacing, he's using a 1080 Ti. So yeah, and I'm sure with this thing, with the resolution it's got to be put out, I'm sure it's going to need a good video card. Period. Plus, I'm sure with it being new, optimization is not going to be there, but it's pretty exciting. Like I said, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a headset, but if they have it now, a few years down the road, we'll have the same thing for a few hundred.
Is this? It looks like a Canadian product then.
Pretty sweet looking headset.
Yep, it looks big, but there's another post.
A little bit heavier than the others.
There's another review by a guy on Reddit called Yellow Swag McFartnut, and he said, "Oh my God, this thing is awesome. There's no other way to describe it. This was 100% worth every single penny and every minute spent waiting on it to arrive. My Rift and Vive have reached their end of their useful lives for me and will be handed down to the kids."
Ouch.
All right, get that goggles. Oh, by the way, Justin Laird, teammate, he got the Lenovo goggles, which are just over $100, and he had very good things to say about it. I mean, what do you guys think about what Justin got?
Yeah, he seemed pretty happy, and because I've been looking into VR for a little while now, and I've seen a lot of reviews on those Lenovo's, and I haven't seen anybody say anything negative about them. So, yeah, for $100, especially if you're running on one monitor, I mean that's a no-brainer. I think if you have probably at least maybe like a 1050, 1060.
I know there's a few of the old bastards running those Lenovo headsets, and yeah, they're all saying the same thing. They love it. It was great for them.
Can't beat that price, man. All right, Greg, perfect pedal for the G25, G27.
So, going to the website here, Gary Gibson, I guess the manufacturer here, has made perfect pedal, which is it's got a pressure cylinder in it. Bringing an image up here for the viewers here. So it's just basically the brake pedal that would fit right back into the base of your G25 or G27 base, but it replaces the spring loaded pedal with this brake pressured one. It's got a pressure hose that goes into the circuit board, which converts that to a signal that and it also has a little more pressure to it, so it feels like more like a realistic brake. So what do you guys think? It looks like a pretty good mod for the G25, G27, but it looks like it's all aluminum or type of metal, I guess. It's probably maybe just metal.
It's been around forever too. This is like the original, upgrade, because back in the day, all you had was a Logitech, and so the price on this is $250, and I think if you have $250 to spend, you would just buy a whole different set of pedals, not upgrade your crappy, G27s.
Well, if you had it's another about $99 for Fanatec rim.
Right, and so I don't know. I mean, if you have G25 and G27, you want to upgrade, that's why we're talking about it. It's perfectpedal.com. But yeah, I don't know if I would do it or not. All right, Mason, turn R1 Pro steering wheel.
Yeah, the Turn Racing Company has a very realistic looking wheel. It's kind of like a U shape with some kind of like fabric covering where you would hold it. It doesn't come with buttons, but any button kind of box system will fit there. It's compatible with the G25, G27, the Fanatec Universal Hub, and most of the button boxes come out. It's currently listed at $179. You're saving a whopping $41, but you can get it with the carbon fiber center plate, and this company looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid.
Looks like you can get it with the G27, G25 adapter version.
100% genuine suede material.
Oh, there you go.
It's kind of a bummer it doesn't come with the buttons, but yeah, another wheel option. Man, there are so many. Okay, Brent, let's get into some other ones. Cube Controls.
Cube Controls is a company over in Italy that has just released, or they've had it released now for quite some time, some brand new wheels, Formula wheels, and some GT steering wheels. They claim to be the latest and state-of-the-art sim racing equipment, a high-end product that will allow you to race with unprecedented skills. Now, I don't know if they're talking about the same skills that I have or the skills that Lando Norris has, the McLaren driver from F1, who's seen in his Instagram page using this wheel to test. But they look pretty sturdy and they look pretty solid. The only difference is, or the only concern is, I don't know about the price. Some of them are about €1,000, and there's a couple for about 700 on there. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
The backlit buttons. Oh my God, they look awesome.
Especially in different colors too.
Yeah, there's the Formula Steering Wheel Pro, which is one of the expensive ones, if not the most expensive. It looks extremely impressive with the backlit lighting, like you said, and all the knobs on there that you can turn. Plus the way that it's made, I bet you that thing would last forever.
Yeah, it looks nice.
So which would you go with? The Fanatec one or that one?
That Fanatec one's a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
If you line all these up next to each other, I mean, yeah, there's so many different things, but the price is a big difference. Like you said, 300 or 1,000,
They are high quality looking though. Like they're a great eyepiece just to even look at when you're, somebody's coming over to look at your rig. It's just something nice to have right in the center too, right?
Yeah, and you got somebody like Lando Norris who money is no object, I'm sure, for his sim rig, and what wheel is he running? Well, he's running this one. All right, let's keep on moving. Tony, Force Field Gaming Pad.
Yeah. Next, it's from a company called Realtus. It's the Force Feel Haptic Gaming Pad. It's a pad you put on your chair. Gives you realistic
Awesome.
feedback. I guess they got 8
Awesome.
haptic zones. iRacing and other racing and flight sims are supported. This one, be honest, guys, I really don't like it at all. It's the video. It shows it, and it's a nice looking seat pad. It's like a faux leather. It does look solidly built, and from all the comments and stuff of people that have actually gotten them, say that it is well built. Unfortunately, the video to me just was pretty much all fluff and no real substance. They didn't really give you anything. It's just some fancy music and some transition cuts, and there you go. The other thing that kind of turned me off of this is the programming that comes with it. They have it in 2 separate things, right? For flight and for racing. But you only get one when you order the seat pad, and you gotta pay for the other one if you do cross sims, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I got a real hard time with this one here. The layout of the haptic vibrator, whatever the hell they are. I had an office chair a few years ago that had the built-in massager, so to speak, right? Well, after a little bit, the chair wears in, and those motors start digging into your legs and wherever you put the most amount of pressure on that seat pad. I'd be interested to know how this thing is like 6 months after use, or maybe even a year after the use. But anyhow, they do got it going. It's $189, and it looks like I think this was a Kickstarter, pre-order type deal. So they just got like their big shipment out late 2018, and it looks like they're taking more pre-orders for the next round that they come out. The reviews on it are, they got 5 stars on their website, but there's, I don't know, I don't like it.
It's a seat pad with like speakers in it, or transducers, right? So you can kind of feel the rumble.
Well, I think they're a little bit more than that. That's kind of how it works with the programs that aren't supported by it yet. But it's kind of hard to dig through, because they don't really tell you a whole lot. They're just, here, look at it. It's flashy.
Right.
We'll actually have a really good review on this one soon. Steve Thompson actually has one of these coming. He might already have it.
Really?
Yeah. He said he'd come on the podcast too if you want him to and actually give us a review of it. So
the
we should know
website,
whether it's trash or not very soon. Yep.
website is real RealTeus.com. Real TS. All right, check it out if you want one of those things. I don't think I'm buying that. But Chris, what's next? Cockpit review.
Yeah, and maybe we followed this guy a bit, but I'm not. He's given. This is from.
Well, he's from Canada.
Reed Miller, yeah, and he's giving us an update on his rig project, but a 2018 update. But this thing is just kind of a mess to me. I'm not really sure what to make of it.
Well, it's a wood rig for our audio listeners. He's made his rig out of wood, where he mounts his wheel, and he's got a place for his mouse and his shifter. But what's interesting is his wood isn't like cut to size. Like, it's different, like the stand on the right and the left are different lengths. And so he's like used like scrap wood and stuff. And then when you look at the side of it, like the wood has a bunch of drill holes in it. Like he's tried it like 5 different ways, and then he had to move it like 5 different times because he didn't have it right. And
I don't know what's going on with the seat. That little butt print thing looks comfortable. I don't know what that is, but it looks cool.
So I go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead,
I'm
Tony.
sorry, I was just going to point out, like, he's got an emoji stress ball attached to his rig. I mean, me and this guy could have beers. I love this thing.
well, and then his table that's kind of sitting over it, where the monitors and what are, that's what is that? A nice piece of wood with some PVC legs, right?
He needs some cable management. He needs some some ties, some places to put it.
Yeah.
But it's a great, it's good to do stuff yourself and stuff. But it does the job. Looks like for him. He's even got his slippers or his racing shoes, whatever you want to call it, there in the one image.
Did you see the fans up top? He's got 3 fans right out straight from his wheel, like
Nice.
for your desktop fans.
They're PC fans.
Yeah.
So he's the first person I've seen that has the same shifter as me, and I find it interesting how he mounted it because that looks a lot better than what I have. So I really like that shifter though.
So he's got a nice wheelbase. He's got a nice shifter. He's got a
Stress
nice
ball.
button box.
Stress
The
ball.
stress ball is just the coolest thing ever. So this guy follows my philosophy. It don't have to be pretty, but it's got to be functional. And I bet you this thing is solid. You could drive a car into this thing and it ain't gonna move.
Oh yeah, it's all
Looks-
2x4s.
It looks like he spent the money other places than the rig. The rig might be his last thing to do.
The way it's kind of put together, it's almost haphazard. Like he just kept building onto it and building onto it until it was right.
Out of all of this, the one I can deal with the cords, I can deal with the wood. The one thing that has me stressing out right now from looking at this, the first picture, is the glass of water sitting on the table above all of this.
Oh yes, oh yes. The other thing is we're gonna send him a level for that one that one piece right above the emoji ball.
Yeah.
No
Good
way.
job, though,
No
man.
way.
Good job.
This is awesome. You can't change it. It's lacking duct tape, but other than that, this is a good quality build.
I knew you'd like this one.
And I'm not trying to make fun of it. We all have setups that we've built, and I may come off that I'm that way, but I appreciate when people share these type of things.
Okay, Greg, you're next. 80/20. Where do you get it?
This was a question I've always wanted to ask because I've never, I've only learned about 80/20 through our podcast and seeing people's rigs and stuff and dealing with iRacing stuff. I've never heard of it up until this point. So there's a website here, www.tnuts.com. So that's TNUTZ.com. So you can grab it's got everything that you're going to possibly need to order to make your own stuff here, I guess. And it says shipping looks pretty fast for it.
Yeah, if you want to buy it and you know what you want, this is where you get it, tnuts.com. Or there's another place you can actually buy it from a guy on eBay who's very well known in a community called 4Play Racing USA. So if you go to ebay.com, search the number 4 Play Racing USA, all one word, and you'll find his seller page where he has 80/20 cockpits for sale that are all pre-built and ready to go. And so here's one for $489. He's got another one here for $599.
Both these websites, if you type in a wrong letter, could send you to the wrong sites.
Well, especially when it's called T-Nuts. But yeah, 4Play Racing on eBay. A lot of people I've seen in the forums have bought rigs from this guy.
It's good to know this now because, like I said, I never heard about this stuff until I saw people starting building with it. But it looks so versatile.
If I was starting over, I'd really, really be taking a hard look at 80/20. In fact, I saw a different thread. I didn't put it on the show this week where people were asking somebody was asking, what's the best kind of cockpit to get? And a lot of the responses, I mean, like 70% of them were 80/20. I mean, that was the majority of the responses.
I think the best thing for that is probably also the reason they do that is everybody comes in different shapes and sizes, right? So, you can customize it to yourself.
And you could add on to it, later, build to it.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was thinking you can make your add-ons without swapping on different links to 2x4.
All right. Let's keep moving. Mason, GTR Simulator.
Yeah, so GTR Simulation has a new rig for pre-order. It is called the GTM Motion Simulator Model Black Frame. It's supposedly full motion, and it looks like it has a triple monitor stand that comes with it. It's attached to the whole base. It is stationary as far as the base goes. It looks like they ship it with a seat, and if you pre-order now, you get a free seatbelt and 30% off.
Okay, nice. $3,000.
Out of stock.
Well, it's on pre-order. That's why it says out of stock. But
Oh,
yeah, it's this has got I want to call it traction loss, where it moves left to right on the rear. But when you look closer and you zoom in, it looks like it just kind of moves the chair from left to right. And if you look closely, the chair is like on a pivot. It's like only attached in the center. Do you see that?
Oh.
so it's rotating from like right underneath you. So it just turns.
So like shift to the left and right, I think.
But how does
like,
that doesn't really work though if your seat's moving but the steering wheel is staying in the same spot? That kind of doesn't wouldn't feel authentic.
Yeah, I want to see a video before I buy it. Yeah, I haven't seen a video, but that's kind of what it looks like. So the website gtrsimulator.com. And I'm trying to figure out where they're out of. I went to their contact page. It looks like they're out of Ontario, California. All right, let's keep moving. I got the next one. This one is kind of a similar name, but it's called GT Omega Pro Racing Simulator Supreme R6 Seat. This product is also on pre-order. And we've talked about GT Omega before. Their website is usa.gtomegaracing.com. But they have a new item out, and it's on pre-order, and it's $630, okay? Free shipping. And
That's
what do you
actually
guys
a
think?
really
It's
good
like
deal.
a stationary cockpit, yeah.
That's a really good deal for everything you get in it.
It is. I mean, if it comes with the triple monitor mounts,
It's got
the cockpit, the keyboard stand, and all that stuff.
like that's a really good like base setup to get you going. That's not motion, but for 620 to get because most setups don't come under $1,000 with a triple monitor stand.
Plus
Yeah,
the seat.
this will handle 327s.
And that looks like a very comfortable. Is it leather seat? Is it a leather seat? Might be
Leather-ish.
Right.
synthetic leather.
I think our teammate Joe Owen has the older version of this, and he likes it. So
You just don't normally see the keyboard stand added in and all that stuff as well.
And the triple monitor mount looks solid from what I can see, the way it's designed.
yeah, you can move it distance-wise, which is nice.
I definitely would have been interested in this if it was out when I was looking for a rig.
Yeah, and then free shipping. I mean, so $630. I mean, if you're looking at a stationary rig, yeah, you might want to check this out.
Free shipping, that'd be heavy too, so that's really where you save the money.
Yeah, the free shipping is a huge thing. Now it's a pre-order. I don't know when it ships, but check it out. Let's keep moving. Chris
Back in
Scales.
stock by the 31st of January.
Oh, okay. There you go. Chris Scales, you're next on ASUS overclock settings.
Yeah, next is a forum post from Michael Main with detailed instructions on how he overclocked his. He had an Intel 8700K and he overclocked it to 5 gigahertz. Really awesome. As this guy just continues to be. I mean, he's just awesome in everything, sim racing. But yeah, man, this is totally worth checking out if you have this processor and a ASUS motherboard. I guess just look for ASUS motherboard, or I get you probably have a hard time finding the post. I guess just
search
look for
the word
Michael Main
ASUS
and ASUS
motherboard,
motherboard. Yeah, because I know Michael has a lot of posts, but yeah, definitely worth giving it a shot. I know I didn't see if he posted his exact motherboard. I know that from motherboard to motherboard, the overclock might not always be stable, but it's definitely worth a shot and save you a ton of time. This dude's great.
He gives really good detailed instructions too of how
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, he even details a couple of the steps that could where if you do have an unstable overclock, he kind of lets you know what's doing what, so that you'll know what direction to look to get it stable. Yeah, he's a great guy.
It's a process. It's not just push a couple buttons and you're done. You got to like do some setting changes, reboot, see how it's running, then make some more changes and so forth.
Yeah, and he puts you in all those the right directions to make those adjustments too. Very, very helpful.
Now, I recently overclocked my computer, my new one, just because there's software installed that does it, and all I had to do was push a button, and I think it went up 29% or something. And so right now, I'm running at 4,700 megahertz on my i7 8700K, and I was thinking, do I need to go over 5K? Is 4,700 enough? And I was debating about actually doing this Michael Main post, but I decided not to at this point. I don't really have a need to overclock it, because I have a really good setup as it is. So for now, I'm not going to. But if you guys want to check that out, go find it. All right, Tony, a big announcement by VRS.
Yeah, this is a big announcement, and so right at the beginning of the year,
for the
this was
subscription.
posted January 1st.
Your
VRS
subscription BF
sim racing
Ozone.
hardware announcement. They announced they kicked the year off with their hardware initiative. They're looking at the offerings out there, and they're not happy with the gap between pricing and quality. So they're looking to bring out their own line of stuff at a reasonable price to, I guess, be able to hit the masses. They don't particularly say what they're coming out with, just a range of various standalone components. But it looks like they could be diving into direct drive wheels. They don't say much more than that, except to follow the Facebook page to get the latest updates.
And some of their drivers already are testing out products as well, so that are part of the virtual racing school. What do you call them? Mentors or the helpers.
Oh, they're already on the beta stuff, on the beta hardware.
They're working, like they're people that put out the videos and all that stuff are already using products that they're developing.
Nice. Well, I mean, this is a very well-known company in the community, by offering the setup service and the school and all that. Boy, if they can get involved in the hardware side of it, why not? Let's bring it on. I mean, all this competition drives down prices, so. All right, very cool. That's it for hardware software. Couple other final topics to finish up. Greg, Podium Esports has their first street stock winner.
I'm doing this one because of what I said to him, isn't it? Anyways, so I want to congratulate. I want to congratulate teammate Brent McCoy on his win yesterday in the Podium Esports Street Stock at Michigan. Now Brent is here with us. I guess Brent, how did that race go for you, and what's it like to be the first or the inaugural winner of a Podium Esports Series event?
Well, it started out. I mean, I think it's pretty cool that this was a league ever since they dropped we all saw these videos that they dropped probably 2 months ago for the Elite Series and the Truck Series that they were doing, and it caught my attention right away. And I was always a huge fan of it. And to be able to join the street stocks, I wanted to run something different because, as everyone knows, us here at Tifosi Racing, we're all into the road racing and we're all into the A car. Well, I wanted to expand, go back to my roots, I guess you could say. So the street stocks was it, and to be able to get that first win and the inaugural one for all of Podium Esports, including all 4 series that they run, was pretty cool. So the race was good. We started P2. I gave up the pole, missed the shift coming out of pit road. I think is what cost me in it, and was up front. Me, Mason, and David Hall. Mason and David Hall were in TeamSpeak with me, and they were pretty much cheering me on. So thank you guys for that. And I got caught up in a wreck about 3/4 of the way through, recovered, had 10 laps to go, and I was P19. 2 cautions later, and a green-white checkered, and I'm coming around the high side out of turn 4 for the win. So it worked out pretty well. I give a lot of credit to Mason and David for calming me down in that entire time. I was pretty pissed off after that big wreck that put me back to P19. So it was definitely a team win, even though they weren't in it. It was good for us.
You need a stress ball.
And they have a nice
An
broadcast
emoji.
too.
What's that, Mike? Go ahead.
They have a nice broadcast on the Twitch, it looks like.
Yeah, I hope it was pretty good. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm actually going to watch the one that they're doing tonight. They're doing the Elite Series tonight, silver. So, everyone I've talked to said that the broadcast is pretty good and they got a good production going on. So,
Yeah, the cameras were great.
They definitely are really going at this esports in the right way, and have their promotional videos and everything are just, it seems like they're top-notch stuff that they're going to be putting out here.
yeah, and I think what I like about it is there's an incentive to actually race. Like you get in some leagues and there's not really that incentive. You just want it for clean racing. But for here, there's actually money on the line. Like I think for the street stocks, the purse is like $500 throughout the entire year or something like that. And in the Elite, I want to say it's like 1,000, 1,500, somewhere around there. So pretty exciting.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, they really took off. I mean, their Facebook page has over 1,500 likes. That's huge for a brand new league. I mean, we just went over 1,000 likes on our iRacers Lounge page, and we've been working on that for years. And they're doing a great job over there, from what I've seen.
Yeah, there's definitely interest, and I'm looking at their Elite, the drivers for the Elite. They got Logan Clampin, Devin Sear, and all those guys that are in it. A couple pro guys, and I bet you for the Elite Series, there's probably a good 100, 120 drivers that are in it, and the same with the trucks. So it's definitely picking up.
All right, well, congratulations on the win. I got the final topic. Guess what? We're on Spotify now, guys. We're big time. This is probably the one last place I have not been able to get the podcast. And I tried it, I think, late summer, and I hit a roadblock, and it, didn't hear back from them. Just on a whim, I tried it a couple days ago, and guess what? We're now on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify, you can search iRacers Lounge and get all of our 157 episodes. So check it out. All right, let's jump into final topics. Brett McCoy.
So we got an exciting time here at Tifosi Racing. We got a lot of stuff coming up. I know December was kind of a down year for us, but I know as a team lately, I'm looking forward to getting this 24 ironed out, getting the kinks figured out and the schedules put together, and actually getting in some practice races. So just looking forward to that.
All right, very good. Chris Scales, final thought.
Real happy to not be racing on one mod, or looking forward to get back on the sim and try out some more VR.
All right, welcome to VR. Greg Hectus.
Just want to. I'm just thankful for how everything's gone this last year. We're going to start a new year here. It's definitely been very entertaining and fun to race in the Old Bastards Racing League. I've passed my probation. I guess they wanted to keep me in there. And I seem to be racing with the same guys, and which is a refreshing, take to be in with the same guy that's up in front and racing them and know what they're gonna do. It's been really good for that series with me racing, and I'm really enjoying having teammates in the room in the races with us. So look forward to keep doing those races. We'll be at Martinsville next week, and you can follow me on. Can watch my races on twitch.tv/frozen cactus, frozen with 2 O's, cactus with 2 K's, and yeah, we'll see you then.
All right, very good. Mason Stiver, final thought.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since we had a podcast, but my Indianapolis week was fantastic. I finished second a couple times, but this Charlotte week has not been great so far. So looking forward to getting out of Charlotte and working on some setups.
All right, you're an animal in that A Open. 160 laps that Charlotte race was last night. Boy, that was a long one. Tony Groves, final thoughts.
Yeah, well, I was hoping the new year was going to be able to hit the reset button for myself. That hasn't happened yet, so I'm going to continue smashing on the reset button. I got to flip things around. I have not had very good finishes in pretty much any of my races for it's been probably 2 months now, and it's getting long and thin. So I got to figure out something. That reset button, it needs to start working for me.
Race something different. All right, my final thoughts. I've been racing a lot of varied unofficial stuff, hosted and different things, testing. I've been ghosting people. We've been doing streaming a lot. We've been getting a lot of our teammates up on streaming. In fact, a bunch of us are now streaming to Facebook Live and on the Tifosi Racing Facebook Live page. In fact, we can stream at the same time even and have multiple live streams going on that page. And so I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool? We get in the Daytona 500 and we got 8 or 10 Facebook streams going all at the same time at Tifosi Racing on Facebook. And that's kind of a goal. And trying to get everybody to try to get onto one platform has been a challenge, but it seems to be a good platform. I've had really good success streaming to Facebook Live. If you guys want to check it out, and go check it out on Facebook, you'll see my stream. And David Hall is streaming like a madman over there, everything he's running. And several other people as well, Mason and so forth. So check us out there. Don't forget to check us on Spotify as well. And with that, we'll see you on the track. Later.
User in your channel stopped recording.
All right, Claire.